Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the comprehensive yet informal, here we go, critique of, not critique, study of Kant's critique of pure reason. Great start there. Um, Mic sounds a little different. I'm using a different microphone because the other one was just making this horrible noise. But we don't have to worry about that anymore. Um, and Patrick is here. His audio stuff is the same, so. Yay.
Yeah.
It's also Patrick's birthday. Happy birthday, Patrick.
Huzzah! 28 times around the sun and counting.
And yeah, counting. Whoa. Based. So, um, yes, we're
Based
back
on what?
here. We are back here in the doctrine of elements. We are in this part on the schematism of the pure concepts of understanding, and we had predicted that this part would be quite dry and repetitive. It seemed that way on Patrick's first reading of it. I don't think I ever read this part before, so this is all new to me. Unlike some other aspects of this book. But as contrary to our prediction, it's quite full of insights and is very interesting. Is expanding upon like the imagination, not only like in itself as its own standing kind of epistemological, ontological entity, but also um, in the grand scheme of Kant's system and its place in the history of philosophy, especially as it relates to people like Hume, who came before Kant and some of the problems he raised, as well as uh, laying the groundwork pretty directly, I'd say, for also like post-Kantian work. Specifically, we were bringing up Hegel a lot because of the direct influence and direct, like, just kind of content that we were finding. So if that all interests you, please catch up on the last things and all the things before them. You really shouldn't be here unless you've watched pretty much all of the other ones, I'd say. Like definitely watch the every single one of these in order before you come to this one, as I always just like to point out, just in case. And yeah, that's my little preamble before we begin the session properly with the reading and the analysis. Do you have anything to add, Patrick?
I do have something to add.
Oh, please go
Um,
ahead.
One thing which is super counterintuitive for somebody who actually reads Kant, but is important to keep in mind is Kant isn't in a sense uh, almost one of the founders, or in some sense, the founder of Romanticism
Oh, what makes you say
as
this?
an artistic movement. The artistic
I
movement,
know I'm aware of the
romantic.
movement, but why do you make this claim?
Well, a couple things go into it. First, there's his discussion of the nature of subjectivity and the nature of genius, an individual genius
Oh,
of
yes, yes,
that it's
the
incapable of being taught. Um,
yes, that was
also,
2 sessions ago we were doing that. Yeah.
I would even argue the focus on the practical and the individual practical goodwill, the idea that the will itself and achieving what the like a good moral will following the categorical imperative as the summum bonum rather than a contemplative summum bonum. I would argue that this is a move towards a more romantic conception of life. Like you've gone into Hegel and the law of the heart, right?
Yes, yes,
Which we think of as a very like romantic movement. But in a
yes.
sense, it's sort of like the primitive emerging of Kantianism, and the law of the heart sort of reappears as virtue and then ultimately as conscience
Yes.
in its own sort of way in the beautiful soul,
Hmm.
and also in general the movement from object to subject, right? And
Yes.
this idea of the subjectivity of beauty inhering in the object. And now one other thing I'm thinking here is Kant, through talking about the transcendental schematism, has become a defender of the power of imagination and how
Oh,
imagination
yes. That's what we
is
got into a lot last time.
a necessary component of reason, a necessary component of what makes
Mhm.
us uniquely human, rather than something that merely takes in the object and represents them or fuses them together or whatever it is. It's this active, powerful process that's necessary for our a priori understanding. So um, yeah, I just see now. We were sort of befuddled, mystified by what he meant by imagination, and now I think it's
It's
becoming
totally
more and more
clear,
clear over
yeah.
time
Well, yeah,
that
totally,
he's
but yeah, very clear.
talking about what we really think of as imagination, and actually the power and the vital role of imagination in doing metaphysics. So
Yes.
that's kind of my foreword, I guess. Um, I'm kind of a romanticism simp in terms of, like, at least
Fair
music.
enough.
I think
Yeah,
romantic
the
classical is
sublime, yeah,
much
right.
better than, there. To me, classical music, it's Bach, and then it's romanticism and the modern period. I don't really care about anything besides Bach, romanticism, and after romanticism.
Fair enough.
But
Um,
that's my take. I mean, Mozart's fine, but I don't think, I don't know how people could seriously compare Mozart to Beethoven. Anyway,
hmm.
that's a tangent.
Yeah, it is a bit. Yeah,
Definitely a tangent. But I wanted to bring out now here how much Kant is defending the role of the imagination, and how odd this is for someone we think of as being so dry. Paradoxically, he's
yeah.
also sort of a founder of Romanticism.
Yes, he starting with Kant, I remember learning in the aesthetics class I took just last semester, before I graduated Drew, there was it was kind of explained how there's this like new whole view of art called the cultural view, which kind of like very much takes into account uh, kind of very specific like abstract categories of art as like this kind of imaginative activity or not purely imaginative obviously but like the imagination and the kind of like you were saying to the subjectivity has the key role in literally defining what art is as like a thing that like exists and that people do, as opposed to like the more what we called biological, but I what I would argue is more of like an anthropological view of art, which argues that it's very like socially based and depends on like the historical context. Um, no, rather Kant here is kind of, as Patrick was explaining, I think too, laying down the groundwork to view art and just kind of like Patrick was saying too, just life in general as a very imaginative human endeavor. So it's very interesting, and yeah, definitely appreciate those elaborations to expand upon what I was saying at the very beginning about just kind of the imagination, not only as just kind of an interesting thing itself, but like the grander role it plays in metaphysics and epistemology as a whole. And if you want to see more of that, please do watch the other one again. That was loaded with insights, and in fact, this is part two of this section. It's the first ever two-parter we've done because it was so meaty and it was like an hour. So yeah, definitely watch that for sure, and read it and absorb it because it's a lot and it's you can probably just tell from what we're saying it's loaded. So that's what I'll say about that. And Patrick, unless you have any other preliminary insights or comments, feel free to get reading on the.
Yeah, just one more thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Just to even today, when we think about art, our conception fundamentally, I think, is conditioned by, and in a way sort of starts with romanticism. Sort of starts with this idea of the fine art as an end in itself, as the artist as unique genius.
Yes,
That
that
kind of,
totally started with Kant. That was one of the things I remember learning specifically in
and that's,
aesthetics.
to
Yep.
this day, the romantic conception of art is, I think, still,
Yep.
like, at least
Yep.
as of artists, still the one we are.
Yeah,
In
people
some
go into
broad
art
sense,
looking at
we're
like
all
what
still
is this?
romantics,
They're not like, "Oh, what
right?
can this do for me?" Like in Greece, it was like for like techne and for like for
What is
telos
the
and
unique vision of your favorite artist? How are they expressing their individuality, right?
exactly.
That kind of way of thinking of things
Starts with
is
Kant. Yeah.
starts with Kant. And so, like, next time you're thinking of, like, how your favorite rapper or rock band or whatever is expressing themselves, think of the transcendental schematism.
Yeah, and this is definitely it was funny because I think last time too I was either this last session or the one before it I was like kind of fearing reading the critique of judgment because of like how much bullshit we had to trudge through like right literally right before the section But now I'm like reinvigorated to read the third critique eventually, and I would like to do a study like we're doing with this for the third and the second critique along with this one. So very
So, in
based.
summary, we're so back.
We are so back. We are so back. Yes. Um, we were so far gone, and now we're back. Was there a good sound we added on the soundboard? I don't
I
know.
think smoke weed every day is the one that covers it for
Smoke
me.
weed every
We
day.
are so back. On that note, would you like to begin reading?
Absolutely.
Hell
If
yeah.
you would only start streaming. You have
Wait,
to
what?
stream. You're not streaming, dude.
I'm recording.
But you're not
Oh, I'm
streaming.
not streaming the. I'm not screen sharing. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh
Well,
no. I forgot that my microphone troubles caused me to. I did the smoke weed every day. Couldn't even hear it. That's so sad. Um,
oh dang, I didn't
for
hear it.
for redundancy, I'll play it one more time. What the hell?
Smoke weed every day.
Hell yeah. Alrighty. Sorry. Sorry about that. Forgot the screen share. Okay. Take it away when you're ready.
Reality is in the pure concept of the understanding, that to which sensation in general corresponds. That, therefore, the concept of which in itself indicates a being in time.
Okay. So
All right,
right
I'm
away,
going to read that again
yeah.
because
We this
what?
is big. This is big.
Okay, but what? Okay, reality is in the pure concept of the understanding, that to which a sensation in general corresponds. That therefore the concept of which in itself indicates a being in time. Wait,
This
hold
seems
on. Hold on. This
okay.
seems sus according to Kant's own principles, no?
Um.
So he's saying reality is
mhm.
in the pure concept.
Sorry. I'm just
Okay,
gonna. Oh,
reality,
it was just.
reality.
Oh, okay.
It's literally just the cognate. So,
Okay.
reality is in the pure concept of the understanding, that to which a sensation in general corresponds.
He's being a correspondence theorist here. No.
Yeah, I guess so, but reality is in the pure concept of the understanding. So, in other words, reality, what does he mean is in the pure concept of the understanding?
To me, that seems like there's a there's a place in the understanding
Is
that
reality itself a concept?
yes, that's what I feel like he's saying here. Like reality as a concept, like we have that when there is a
Is the
sensation.
correspondence with
That,
sensation. So, in other words, sensation is the general, what's the word? Sensation is the general term to denote anything coming through the sensibility.
yes,
Yeah.
that's my
So
understanding.
reality is the general term which corresponds to that in the understanding. Is that the statement? I think.
Yeah, I think we understand reality as a pure concept when there's a sensation whose that has a corresponding concept that indicates a being in time. Basically, when the sensation matches up with the concept as a being in time, we get the pure concept of reality. That seems to be what that was my reading of this.
Okay, but if that's true,
Hmm.
then how can he say something like "we know" or "do not know"? Like, how could he say, for instance, "we don't know" the thing in itself, right? We don't know what the
I'm
thing is in
guessing.
itself, because let me break this down a little bit further.
Okay.
If he makes a statement about the thing in itself, namely that, for instance, we can't know it, right, or that time doesn't apply to it, that seems like an extension of reality outside of the understanding. So it seems like reality should be something broader than understanding, unless he's using reality as a term that doesn't denote exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think we just have to take it literally as it's being given to us.
But like, okay,
Because think about it, he's not
um,
even saying broad reality. He's saying reality is in the pure concept of the understanding. So reality in the scope of the
of the understanding.
of the
Ah, I see.
yeah.
So it's Okay.
R-
I think that makes some sense.
yeah.
Okay, so within the context of the pure concept of the understanding only,
Yes.
reality is that to which sensation in
Corresponds
general
with the
corresponds.
concept that
That
indicates
therefore the
being in
concept of
time.
which in itself indicates a being in time. Dasein, Heidegger, sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. Das ein, but like das and then like I or no, being in the world, not being in time. Das ein is
yeah,
being in the world, but yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Heidegger
that's
core
true.
for sure. Um,
Well, Dasein, literally their being.
oh, I didn't even think
Sein is
about that.
being, and Da is like over
The
there.
yeah,
There, it's like their being.
mm,
Negation is
yeah.
that the concept of which represents a non-being in time. Okay, so maybe he's saying something much more basic.
Mm. Which wouldn't
um,
surprise me given Kant's like autismo writing. Anyway, sorry,
uh,
explain.
so I guess he's just saying that reality. Really, he's just saying that reality indicates a being, and negation indicates the absence of a being.
Yeah, that seems to be
Which,
it.
yeah,
Which I
just
mean, maybe it's
fucking
a little more
duh.
significant because he's trying to say that like being and non-being are pure concepts of the under. Is that what he's? This seems to be
Uh,
significant, too significant for me
Well,
to
but
ignore.
see, he can't. No, because if he says that being and non-being as such are only concepts of the understanding, then we wouldn't be able to even assert that we don't know the non-being of the thing in itself, right? This is the sort of naive criticism of Kant I had before an intense study, right?
Mm,
How can he say that we don't know anything about the thing in itself
mm-hmm,
when that itself is a statement about the thing in itself,
mm-hmm.
right? And there's a more adequate formulation of that, but it seems like if that's what he's saying, and being just in general is a concept of the understanding, and non-being in general is a concept of the understanding,
Hmm.
then it seems like we're totally unable to even say that we can't say anything about the thing in itself.
I mean, I think to be fair, I think this is just kind of something that I don't know. Maybe people are mistaken in just like accepting that about Kant, but like that seems to just be the accepted like canon. Like I don't think anybody argues that. I think people just think Kant fucked up with
Like
his.
if he asserts that reality and because look, there's a section in the refutation of idealism later,
Mhm.
right? What he calls the refutation of idealism,
Right, I'm aware of
where
that. I'm
he
aware of that.
says that there must be a thing in itself. But if being or reality as such is only a pure concept of the understanding, then of course there can't be a thing in itself.
According to Kant, how Kant conceives the thing in itself anyway, right?
Right?
Which is
Well, yeah,
outside of the understanding, right?
right. But so the other
Mm.
interpretation is that he's only talking about um, the use of the terms being and non-being as they apply to the pure concepts of the understanding, which seems to
Oh,
be like your
yes.
original.
Right. Okay.
But which it seems more plausible because it doesn't lead Kant into a contradiction. However, at the
Yeah.
same time, what it does do to Kant is make this statement as dumb as reality means that it exists and
Mm.
negation means that it doesn't.
Okay. I buy that.
Which I feel like it's more charitable to say that he said something terribly obvious than self-contradictory.
I agree. That makes sense. And it's not even like out of left field. That could also, yeah, he could have worded it really strangely. Okay.
I mean, he do be designating his enterprise rather than naming things.
He do
So, okay, moving on from the first couple sentences here. Uh,
the opposition.
the opposition of the two thus takes place in the distinction of one and the same time as either filled or an empty time.
So either like, does this mean being and non-being?
Uh, yes, but I suppose he can't mean in itself because an empty time isn't conceivable.
Right.
I guess he just means the emptiness of time with regard to any particular
Content.
determination.
Yeah.
As in, this time does not have corn on the cob in front of me.
Exactly. This time is pure time because.
Empty. Yeah, it's empty. It's pure time as regards corn.
Hmm.
Um, sure. In that case, it makes sense.
Hmm.
Otherwise,
Big
very
problem.
weird one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, moving forward.
It's such a
Since
weird.
since time is only the form of intuition, thus of objects as appearances, that which corresponds to the sensation in these is the transcendental matter of all objects. I want to read that again.
Yeah.
Since time is only the form of intuition, thus of objects and appearances, that which corresponds to the sensation in these is the transcendental matter of all objects.
Oh, it's
Ah,
basically what he's saying
time is the
before.
form.
Yes.
Yeah, he's repeating his sort of hylomorphism here, where sensation is the matter and time and space are the forms. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, moving forward, as things in themselves. Okay.
Oh.
Thinghood reality. What? Wait, what?
Oh, it
How
just
can that end the
ends?
sentence?
Yeah, what the
How does that end the sentence? Okay. Since time is only the form of intuition, thus of objects as appearances, that which corresponds to the sensation of these is the transcendental matter of all objects.
Yeah, he never finishes
No, no,
the
no. I think as things in themselves is supposed to modify the transcendental matter of all objects. But that shouldn't be the transcendental matter in that case. It would be the transcendent.
yes, yes. So the first half of the
But he had,
sentence is
but
this.
the first time when we thought he did a transcendental transcendent confusion, he didn't, and we were confused. You know,
Mm,
the matter of all objects as thing in themselves. Well, it couldn't be transcendental,
'cause transcendental isn't the thing in itself.
right?
Unless it is?
Transcendental.
Is he saying it is?
Well, let's talk about. I mean, then again, he does just tend to use transcendental in equivocal ways because what's his philosophy called? Transcendental
Dental
idealism,
idealism.
right? He's asserting that that the categories are transcendentally ideal rather than transcendentally real, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in other words, in a transcending way, these are only ideas of the mind,
Mm-hmm.
not real things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, there are at least some cases in which he uses transcendental to refer to transcending our knowledge rather than as a precondition for our knowledge, which is a problem
Yeah,
again
that's
because
confusing.
it's a direct like contradiction with the way he normally uses the word.
Yep.
But I that's the only way in which I can make sense of this, right? That which corresponds to the sensation of these transcendental matter of objects as things themselves. It sounds like he's then talking about the idea, not just the hylomorphism of perception, where sensation, right, so to speak. Okay, let me start from the beginning and make it a little less clear. So what he's saying is time is the form of an intuition,
Mm,
right? And
yes.
therefore our internal intuition of time, which is a condition in us,
It's inner
right?
sense, right?
Inner sense. Yeah,
Hmm?
I'll be quieter.
Oh.
Okay. So, okay. So, since time is only the form of the intuition, thus of objects as appearances, that which corresponds to the sensation in these is the transcendental matter of all objects. So, time here is the form. Time supplies the form in intuition. What
Mm.
supplies the matter in intuition? Not sensation, but
Space.
no, no,
Mm.
no. That which is the transcendental matter supplies sensation.
Oh, so that's just time.
No, no, no.
He just
What
said
I'm
it
saying
is the.
is, okay, I wish I could draw this out. There's
Mm.
the thing in itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it gets filtered through the lens of sensibility,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
And that means that there's like the form of space and time because that's part of the lens that gives the form,
Mm.
and also stuff like the eyes that gives us color and all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
But before any of that process takes place, there needs to be something in the thing in itself,
Oh,
right? That's the way Kant thinks,
I guess so. That's just weird of him to say since it's
because he gives the
unknowable.
given. Well, yeah. Well, he's
Oh, but
not
there has to
saying
be
that we
something
can
to
assert
give.
anything.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not
Okay.
asserting anything of it, but merely that it is
It
the
is.
transcendental magic
But he's
matter.
saying he does know. He's saying it's time is the
Yeah,
form.
no, well, time is the form in our
Oh!
representations,
Oh,
but
oh, oh,
the
oh.
the matter is given to us not merely like
I
internally,
was
but
reading
also
this wrong. Okay,
on
wait.
the outside.
Okay.
So if I
That which
read it again with this,
corresponds to the sensation is the transcendental.
matter of
Because
all
time
others,
is the only one, there has to be a transcendental matter. Ah,
which corresponds to the sensation,
yep.
I think that's what he's saying there. Okay. Uh,
Makes
thing
sense.
as things in themselves,
Okay.
thinghood,
Hello?
and then he says thinghood in general. I think no thinghood reality. I don't know. It's a dubious interpretation, but it's the best I've got right now.
Me too. Don't have anything better.
Now every sensation has a degree or magnitude through which it can more or less fill the same time, i.e., the inner sense, in regard to the same representation of an object, until it ceases in nothingness.
Oh, negatio.
There's really no need to throw in. It's just to be why.
That's so funny though. It just looks so like what is equals? Is it zero or O?
Nagatio.
I guess that's zero, right? Because the O is like the font is like this is
I don't
skinnier.
know. I don't know.
Equals zero equals negatio.
Okay. Okay. um. Sure.
Hence,
Hence, there is a relation and connection between, or rather, a transition from reality to negation that
whoa.
makes every reality representable as a quantum, and the schema of a reality as a quantity of something insofar as it fills time is just this continuous and uniform generation of that quantity in time as one descends in time from the sensation that has a certain degree to its disappearance or gradually ascends from negation to its magnitude. Help me out here. Has he said anything besides if you take away stuff, then
It goes
eventually there will
away.
be nothing?
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out if he's like actually. Uh, yeah, no, just
um, if
yeah,
you
degree
don't,
to a disappearance. Yeah, gradually since. Yeah,
it really sounds like he's just describing
shit going away
things
and shit
going
coming back. It
away.
increases in magnitude when it is there more. More
Toddler.
being more.
I aided all my vegetables and now they are gone. Kant. Hence, there is a relation and connection between, or rather a transition from
Ah!
reality to negation that makes the reality representable as a quantum, and the schema of a reality as the quantity of something insofar as it fills time. It's just this continuous and uniform generation of that quantity in time, as one descends in time from the sensation that has a certain degree to its disappearance, how it gradually ascends from its
Yeah,
negation
you
to its
rereading that is just
magnitude.
confirmed literally just that it's
Bruh.
that's a deserved bruh if I've ever seen one.
I mated you a hamburger, but I heated it.
Yeah, DoorDasher, where's the magnitude or DoorDash, where is the magnitude of my order? I negated it. I was hungry.
I I gradually negated it until it reached a quanta equals zero equals
Yeah.
negatio.
Yeah, where is where where is my DoorDash order? Zero equals zero negatio. Hungry. Oh my goodness. So autistic. We just want this is a great section for like Kant. If you want Kant, oh, 275, that's where I'm at. If you want like Kant in a nutshell, read like this part of the critique. If you want like the most like compact experience of reading Kant. Oh God.
Equals zero equals negatio.
Hungry.
All right.
I,
Would you
w-
like to move on from this
I would.
bizarre paragraph?
I would. From this hungry paragraph, dare I say.
Hungry. Hungry.
Hungary. Country. Wow. The schema of substance is the persistence of the real in time. Okay. I.e., the representation of the real as a substratum of empirical time determination is. But how many ways does he have of just saying shit isn't there? Like shit is there. Which.
Well, he's saying that substance, right, which is a category, right,
Oh, okay.
is the substrate. It's that which persists rather than like through time, which therefore endures with everything else that changes. So this one I think has a little bit more meat to it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess
But
because it's
anyway, I don't want to
substance.
interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Uh,
Okay, that's helpful. Because I legit thought that was just more rewording and repetition, so that's good. Anyway, which therefore endures while everything else changes. Time itself does not elapse, but the existence of that which is changeable elapses in it. Wait, that's confusing to me. How does time not elapse, but the existence of that which is
because
changeable?
we're a schema.
Oh, we're not in like regular reality, right?
Yeah, this is imagination. We're doing schematism.
Oh, okay, makes sense. More sense anyway. To time, therefore, which is itself unchangeable and lasting, there corresponds in appearance that which is unchangeable in existence, i.e., substance, and in it alone can the succession and simultaneity of appearances be determined in regard to time. Okay. Is he just saying this again?
Time, therefore, which is itself unchangeable and lasting, there corresponds an appearance which is unchangeable. Well, he's saying that there's a homogeneity between time and substance. Time
Right,
itself
but didn't
endures,
he
even
just.
though things change within time, just as substance itself endures. So
Oh,
this
he was
whole
saying the inverse.
schematism,
Oh, okay.
so the schematism is entirely about homogeneity, right?
Yeah.
And in order to represent a pure concept of the understanding as homogeneous with actual intuitions, it's necessary for us to create schemas,
Yes.
right? So to do this for substance, substance is the homogeneity, so to speak, between time as such
Mm,
and appearances,
okay.
because time endures even though everything changes in it, just as substance persists even though its properties change in it.
Right. Cool. Okay. Um, I guess I'll just keep
Okay.
reading because these are like little things.
Yeah.
The schema, the schema, the schema. The schema, oops. The schema of the cause and of the causality of a thing, in general, is the real upon which, whenever it is posited, something else always follows. It therefore consists in the succession of the manifold insofar as it is subject to a rule. The schema of community, which is reciprocity, or of the reciprocal causality of substances with regard to their accidents, is the simultaneity of the determinations of the one with those of the other, in accordance with a general rule. The schema of possibility is the agreement of the synthesis of various representations with the condition of time in general, e.g., since opposites cannot exist in one thing at the same time, they can only exist one after another, thus the determination of the representation of a thing to some time. The schema of actuality is existence at a determinate time. Oh, I'm wondering if like Hegel took directly like the language in these definitions. Well, uh, sorry, this is just rambling. I'll
To an
continue reading.
extent, at least, yes.
Yeah. Um, the schema of necessity is the existence of an object at all times. Now, one sees, or actually, do you want to read from here?
Sure, yeah. Now one sees from all this that the schema of each category contains and makes representable, oh, or What? Now one sees from all this that the schema of each category contains and makes representable, in the case of
Mm,
magnitude, the generation of a time itself, in the success. Oh my God. This is not how you should have made it. I know what he's going to do, and this is not how you should make this sentence.
no, yeah.
Do me a favor, go forward and look for the period.
It's just a big ass lit here.
Oh boy. Here we go. Buckle up, kids.
It's so bad.
Now one sees from all this that the schema of each category contains and makes representable, in the case of magnitude, the generation or synthesis of time itself in the successive apprehension of an object. In the case of the schema of quality, the synthesis of sensation, perception, with the representation of time, or the filling of time. In the case of the schema of relation, the relation of perceptions among themselves to all time, i.e., in accordance with a rule of time determination. Finally, in the schema of modality and its categories, time itself as the correlate of the determination of whether and how an object belongs to time. The schemata are therefore nothing but a priori time determinations in accordance with rules, and these concern, according to the order of the categories, the time series, the content of time, the order of time, and finally, the sum total of time as regards all possible objects, and as usual, the last sentence should have come first.
Hmm. Um, yeah,
Kant teaching a writing class be like, do the body of your essay first and then put the introduction in.
yeah.
Then summarize what you did.
Yeah, literally, just backwards. Again, whoever suggested to read this book backwards, very smart and observant. Um, I guess if we want to recap this, we should explain this part first and go backwards.
It recaps itself. Yes, sure. Let's recap it backwards.
Yeah.
The schemata, therefore, are nothing but a priori time determinations in accordance with rules. And these concern, according to the order of categories, the time series dealing with, I believe, reality. Let's go back. I don't have these memorized in my head, but let's see. No, generation. No, scroll down. It's all in this paragraph. Same paragraph. The generation. Okay, so in the case of magnitude, is the generation of time itself.
Oh,
What
so
the
I guess
hell?
just literally the series of time itself.
In the successive apprehension of an object, in the case of quality, the synthesis of sensation, or the filling of time. In the case of the, let's keep flip, schema of relation, the relation of the perceptions according rule determination. Yeah, and in modality, time itself as the correlate of the determination and whether or how an object belongs to time. Ah, yes, in that, for instance, necessity persists throughout all time,
Hmm.
whereas contingency does not, may
Hmm.
or may not. Actuality, right, is a modal determination. It's the time that's actually given. So, um, modality is therefore the sum total of time. The order of time is relation according to a rule. So,
Hmm.
so Kant is literally when he talks about causation.
Hmm.
Uh, cause comes and then effect.
Yes.
So the literal succession of time is dependent on causality.
Oh, that's very
Um,
like Schopenhauer took that, I think.
yes. So the content of time, right? The content of time being what particular sense determination attaches. So that's quality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the content filled with yellow or red or salty or
Right.
sweet or whatever?
And then time
And
series
then
is quantity,
the
right?
time series is quantity or magnitude.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's the best explanation of that is the five dots.
Yeah. Literally just time itself that is a universal, unified.
So arithmetical, right? For instance, mathematics is concerned with the series of time itself,
Mm-hmm.
or arithmetic is anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Schopenhauer describes arithmetic as just abbreviated counting, to which that makes the whole thing a lot clearer, actually.
Yes, as like bundles and right,
Um,
bundles of
okay,
individual things that are
so this
unified,
now makes
universal.
sense to me, I think.
It does.
Let's move on. Do you want to
Yeah,
handle the next paragraph?
I will read the next paragraph, sure. From this, it is clear that the schematism of the understanding, through the transcendental synthesis of imagination, comes down to nothing other than the unity of all the manifold of intuition in inner sense, and thus indirectly to the unity of our perception. I don't understand why it's indirectly, but okay. As the function that corresponds to inner sense to a receptivity. Thus, the schemata of the concepts of pure understanding are the true and sole conditions for providing them with a relation to objects, thus with significance. And hence the categories are in the end of none but a possible empirical use, since they merely serve to subject appearances to general rules of synthesis through grounds of an a priori necessary unity, on account of the necessary unification of all consciousness in an original apperception, and thereby to make them fit for a thoroughgoing connection in one experience. Okay,
It
actually,
feels like you get all the redundant paragraphs,
yeah, but I kind of like this one because it like yeah, sure, it's redundant, but I think
but
it
it is
like
a good summary.
it is, yes, I was gonna say it's a very good summary of like pretty far back reaching material because I think especially if it's like your first time going through this, which I guess technically it's mine, but like especially if you haven't like read any of it before and you're just trying to go through it, you could probably lose track of like how things
Right,
fit into the scheme of ultimately, right, like
right.
op perception.
I think that's fair. I think you're making a fair point there. This is a one case where the summary is pretty clear and gives
Yes,
us a
that
good
helps too.
picture of the whole. So I think that helps. But
Mhm.
it does mean that I don't have a lot of remarks to make about it besides that.
Yeah, I don't either. Just understand that the transcendental synthesis of imagination um, is the unity of the manifold of intuition, and there's it's the basically the unity of time as it relates to the manifold. Um, and I don't actually. Do you understand why that's thus indirectly to the unity of our perception?
Indirectly to the unity of our
Like this
perception
seems like a pretty
because
direct link to me. Like it's pretty
I
directly.
think he doesn't claim that the unity of our perception isn't identical with the unity of time
Oh, I guess is that why it's indirectly?
because the unity of our perception is, so to speak, the genus of the unity of time because it also contains the unity of space.
Yeah.
So it's indirect in the way that of like genius to species.
Okay. Sure. But it's still pretty like it's core to it and like yeah. I just makes
It's
one of the
indirect. I think it's indirect in the way that if you have a dog scratching your ear,
mhm.
the statement "some dogs scratch their ears" is indirectly related to that empirical reality
Right. It's just less specific.
because our perception is a genus,
Not yeah.
right,
Not equal or
of
not
the
below. Yeah.
unity, right? It's the unity of all experience, whatever, and
Right.
time is just a subspecies, though the first and primary subspecies that is necessary for all other subspecies of our perception. Man, that sentence was sounded like Kant, so I'm
No, but
sorry.
I like that though. I mean, you sure you reword it, but I like what you're saying overall. Yeah.
But what I mean to say is
hmm
basically time is the most important and the primary uh, category or subspecies or subdivision of our perception, but it's not on that account identical with our perception.
That was like Schopenhauer. Clear. Cool. Um, and it corresponds to a receptivity. Um, so this is the essential link that towards intuition that like was we were lacking at the beginning of the section. I think it was the beginning of the section, right? The problems I guess you could say was raised of like how do we connect these like the the what we learned about like in the deduction to and like the concepts and all that to the intuitions and thus to like objects and or at least empirical objects and intuited. And I think that's because of this right here, this schematism of the understanding through the transcendence of imagination. This is the key to that. That's really what I want to just hammer home. Um, and then from there you can do the categories and all that jazz. So cool. Okay. Um, do you want to read this? Unless you have any other comments on that, do you want to read these next two things right here?
Nope. But it is also obvious that although the schemata of the sensibility first realized, wait, what?
No,
Is
I
that
thought
not where? It is?
you're. I think right here.
Oh, okay.
All of our.
Sorry.
It's okay.
All of our cognitions, however, lie in the entirety of all possible experience, and transcendental truth, which precedes all empirical truth and makes it possible, consists in the general relation to this. Okay. But it is also obvious that through the schemata of the sensibility, though, oh no, but it is also obvious that although the schemata of sensibility first realize the categories, yet they likewise also restrict them, i.e., limit them to conditions that lie outside the understanding, namely the sensibility. Hence, the schema is really only the phenomenon or sensible concept of the object in agreement with the category numerous est quantitas phenomenon. I'm not going to read that.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, that's fine. That's annoying as
Now,
fuck.
if we can you imagine if he did that in real life? Can you imagine talking to a person and
Oh,
then
like
just
verbally, and
randomly,
they just drop.
like verbally
Have,
breaks
have
into
you seen
Latin?
Have you seen the Instagram account Yap Dollar? Or no, you're not on Instagram, right?
No.
Holy shit! There's this. Maybe he's on YouTube. Off camera, I'll show you Yap Dollar. Remind me. It literally does that. It's talking in English and breaks into Mandarin Chinese like at random. You can't. It's so funny. It's so funny. Anyway, sorry. I just wanted to y'all.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it's really annoying because honestly, the only reason to do it is to sound smart.
Yeah. Fuck you, Kant. And he does it at random too, kind of. Like I guess he could really do it at any or
Yeah,
like
but these are the ones where he knows the Latin.
yeah, the limit of his Latin is just what he fucking oh God. It's so
Trust
cringe.
me, if he knew more Latin, he would just say the whole thing in German and then Latin.
Oh
Anyway,
God, imagine double the length of the critique is just one's in
yeah.
German, one's in Latin. Oh, terrible.
Well, actually, it'd be easier because you just skip the Latin one.
So
And
true.
you wouldn't have to skip him saying equals zero equals negatio.
Oh, so true. So lame. Anyway, yeah.
Okay. Now, if we leave aside a restricting condition, it may seem as if we amplify the previous limited concept, thus the categories in their pure significance, without any conditions of sensibility, should hold for things in general as they are, but instead of their schemata, merely representing them as how they appear. Yeah. And they would therefore have a
Oh,
significance, I assume,
hang on. There we go. Sorry.
significance independent of all schemata and extending far beyond them. In fact, even after abstraction from every sensible condition, significance, but only a logical significance of the mere unity of representations, is left to the pure concept of the understandings. But no object and thus no significance is given to them that could yield a concept of the object. Thus, if one leaves out the sensible determination of persistence, substance would signify nothing other more than a something which can be thought as a subject without being a predicate of something else.
Hmm.
Now, out of this representation, I can make nothing, as it shows me nothing at all about what determinations the thing that is to count as such as the first subject is to have. Without schemata, therefore, the categories are only functions of the understanding for concepts, but do not represent any object. This significance comes to them from sensibility, which realizes the understanding at the same time as it restricts it.
Dude, this is
So
really
this is
based.
a
I
little bit more.
really like this.
Yeah, well, this is a little more specific into why it is exactly that the categories only apply to objects and how that works for a specific example. He uses the example here of substance, right?
Hmm.
Certainly, it's conceivable that we could think of the thing in itself as a substance, but doing so wouldn't actually give us an object which corresponds to the concept that we are using,
Hmm.
right? And Kant is, of course, a correspondence theorist. So the problem for him becomes the fact that without considering time, substance is a subject without a
without a
real
predicate.
predicate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it
It's a
doesn't
meaningless word.
have any
Or
missing
if we want to go back
or
to the
significance
introduction or
or
aesthetic, it's an
uh,
empty concept.
right. This is the sense in which it's empty. It lacks relation to us.
If you
We
were
can
wondering what
play
empty
around with it.
concepts and blind intuitions are, right here, baby. This is a beautiful elaboration.
So
And it
if
mixes in the significance of the schemata in the imagination. So I'm a big fan of this paragraph. I don't know. I think it
oh
really drives
yeah,
home lots of core concepts that are essential and important.
absolutely. So if we are related to past philosophy, let's
Hmm.
say the most basic thing, Plato's form of the good. Certainly, we can have it as a subject, right? The form of the good
Hmm.
as a substance, right? And we can say all these nice things about it that namely it is the basis, is the substance of all things in general or whatever.
Hmm.
But as long as we're considering it as a thing in itself, it doesn't have any significance for us because there's no predicate. The schemata is the predicate of these subjects. Otherwise, right? In a possible empirical experience, but if we leave empirical experience, yeah, we can use the concepts, but they don't have any significance to us.
Aristotelian Hegelians win again.
Smoke weed every day.
Yep,
Hell
yep, that's
yeah!
the appropriate word.
I love this.
And
I love this paragraph. This is fantastic.
is that how we end this?
Yeah,
All right, cool.
yeah.
We're all pretty good.
Well, that's pretty
Good
good.
job, Con.
Good job.
Good job, Con.
Good section. Oh, really good section overall. Really
Good.
essential, important, goated section. Let let the transcendental doctrine of the power of judgment or analytic of principles, first chapter on the schematism of the pure concepts of the understanding, go down as a good section of the critique of pure reason.
It's a good
Thoroughly
section.
satisfied.
Section.
Five
Really good
stars.
section.
As
I give it a 9 out of 10. There are definitely a couple moments where, like, there's a paragraph that there was that paragraph back then at the beginning was like, what the hell is he saying?
yeah, I mean, for Kant, it's 5 stars. Great paragraph. For like
In the
actual like I don't know universal rating, like out of all just reading and reading philosophy specifically, I guess it's like slightly not great. Yeah, I don't know.
but still, it's yeah, lots of important stuff happening here.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of the. I did not even know what the hell a Kantian schemata was before I read this section. I'm
I didn't
surprised.
know what it was until the second time I read it.
I'm surprised like Dr. Lee didn't teach us about this. This is kind of a core like yeah, because you were asking, right? When you were like in undergrad, you were like, oh, like blind intuitions are blind without concepts. Concepts are
Was
empty
that
without intuitions. Prove
proof?
it. This is the proof, or
Yeah,
kind of. Anyway, it's what you are
I
looking
wouldn't call it
for.
proof so much as the significance. What does that mean,
Yeah,
right?
it's
And
the
once you
elaboration.
understand that, you do see like what the problem is, what
It's the
exactly the
attending to the faculties that explains that doctrine.
right, right,
So I'm thoroughly pleased with this. I'm very happy.
right.
Really
Well, what
enjoy
we really
this.
should have read was the fourfold root of the principle of sufficient reason. I really wish that that was given to me as an undergrad because that would have made
Yeah. Oh, is that under?
Kant
Sorry, I
a lot.
didn't. I thought you meant like right now. I'm like, yeah, that would be cool if we studied that or something. But
No, but in general, the fourfold root makes it so much easier to understand what Kant is talking about.
yeah, we could hit up Dr. Lee and be like, yo, chattering of reason, fourfold root. Because modern philosophy would be kind of weird.
No, yeah, it wouldn't belong in modern philosophy. But if you put it in the shattering of, I would totally put it in the shattering of reason, not the end of like the will and representation. I mean, it's very dramatic that he talks about how we need to negate all being and arrive at a sea of pure nothingness or whatever.
Yeah, that's
But
literally how it ends.
yeah,
The
that's
self, the star,
Schopenhauer.
the skies are nothing. It ends so like it's like a fucking theater play. It's so funny.
Right, and Dr. Lee introduces us, and that's Schopenhauer.
Yeah, I
But
think Dr. Lee ran out of time to like because he spends so much time on Kant and like I guess Fichte in that course and like Nietzsche at the very end. So in between, he's like, how can I get people interested? Oh, and Marx he actually spends a good amount of time on. So it's like he's like, how can I get people interested in this so they'll read it on their own and still have time to like fit all these guys in. So I think he just picks literally the most dramatic fucking. Because for Hegel, he's like he just had us read like what dialectic was from the Encyclopedia Logic, and then he's like, "Yo, master slave dialectic, crazy," and then he moves on. I'm just like,
if I were caught in such a dilemma personally,
mm,
I would simply drop Fichte.
ugh, I don't know. Yeah, Fichte is important.
But
I would spend
how is
less
an
time on
undergrad gonna?
Fichte. I would
How is
like
an undergrad? How is an undergrad supposed to comprehend Fichte? Seriously.
Dr. Lee actually barely has us read Fichte. He has us read like this his own guide to Fichte that he made himself, which is actually very helpful, I will say.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah,
I didn't.
maybe you didn't have that as
That
an
wasn't
undergrad?
me.
Okay,
No, when I
yeah.
did Shattering of Reason,
So
I read the introductions to Wissenschaftslehre,
he had us read
and
that too, but less of that and more of his
I
own.
was like, "That's nice. Where's a single argument or explanation even of what you're talking about?"
Yeah. Um, yeah, his sheet helped, so I'm glad he's improving the course. Um, well, big tangent aside, this is just under an hour, so we hope you enjoyed this two-parter of this long section that I'm not going to repeat because that was painful reading the first time. This awesome section, um, yeah,
Very pog.
very pog. We'll see you next time for. I don't have it on here, so let me crack open the book and give you all a preview of what's going to happen. What is page 277? Let's see what's up. Let's see what's popping. Oh, we're getting more tables later on. Interesting. Let's see.
I believe the keys upon the table.
We're getting the Transcendental Doctrine of the Power of Judgment or Analytic Principles, second chapter, Systems of All Principles of Pure Understanding. So we're getting the system of the principles. What is this? Oh, this is the schematism. Oh, so we're getting like the system. So I'm guessing maybe this will be like actualized synthesis.
I don't
Maybe.
know.
I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Oh yeah,
Um,
one of the subsections is called on the supreme principle of all synthetic judgments. So this seems like big stuff too. There are more tables. Okay, I'm excited. I'm excited. Hope y'all are. If you're this far into it, you're probably excited, or you'd otherwise just not be watching. I feel like it's one of the two at this point. Um, cool.
yeah,
Leave us comments if you're confused on anything. We're pretty far into this. We've gotten to beefy concepts that are, as we are quite evidently, important and essential for just the Kantian system of theoretical like metaphysics, epistemology. So let us know if you're confused. We'll help you out. Smoke weed every day. Oh, we
Smoke weed every
I almost
day.
forgot the Kantian uh, wisdom of
Kantian
the
advice
day.
of the Kantian wisdom of the day. Uh, mm,
Um, um,
Make sure to persist throughout
yeah, I was
time.
gonna say yeah, it's something like that or
Time will
like
change things, but you must persist. You must
yeah.
endure. Yeah,
Where's the?
I like that one.
I like that one. I like that one. I wanted to do something with the negatio. Uh, I'm having
And
trouble
eat your
finding it.
vegetables. Eat your vegetables, because
Yeah.
then equals zero equals
Oh,
negatio.
the five dots are back. That's funny as hell. Okay, yeah, no,
Don't.
we'll go with Patrick's. We'll go with Patrick's. Eat
How
your
about
veg.
this one?
Yeah.
Don't randomly say the same thing you just said in another language.
Yeah, that's a good meta. Yep, I like that. I like that. So take those wisdoms with you. in your life. Kant is,
Especially not a dead one that you're just using to sound smart.
yeah, that's cringe. If I see or hear you doing that, or just otherwise somehow sensibly like pick you up doing that, I will cringe. I promise you. Um, you will get
Especially
cringed
if you
at
just
by me.
describe things going away as equals zero equals negatio.
Yeah, don't do that. Um, just say it's negated.
Better yet, say it's gone.
It's gone. Say it's gone. I have so much Hegelian brain rot. I think saying it's negated is normal. It's not. Don't even say that. You'll sound cringe. I'm just cringe and autistic. Don't even be as bad as me. I mean, Khan is worse than that, but be better than both of us. Us being Kant and I. Be like
Hmm,
Patrick. Just say it's gone. That's all you
it's
need.
gone. I
Yeah.
hated it.
I ate it. Say that. Whenever something goes, even if you didn't eat it, just
Yo.
it has been eaten.
No, no, because it's the eternal I, right? It's the universal I.
Oh,
Yeah.
ficta. It's been
So I,
unposited. Unposits your eye.
which is to
Don't
say, I
don't
hated it.
unposit people's eyes. Don't eat people.
Right. Well,
Um,
even Hegel, right? He says, what do animals do with sense certainty? They straight away eat it up.
mm,
So I hated it.
you ate it. I ate it.
Where'd the sun
We ate
go?
it.
It's currently nighttime. Where'd the sun go? I ate
I
it.
ate it. The yes, the metaphysical, all-encompassing I.
All right,
All right. Have a
that's
good
enough of
night,
that.
America. I'm tired. I'm gonna clear these notifications as I wish you all fantastic day, night, whatever. We'll see you next time for the system of the not just the schematism of the pure understanding or the principles, of the, but this actual system. We're getting a system, and it's part of the system of German idealism.
He's gonna derive the complete system.
Probably not the complete system, but a system at the very
Gotcha.
least. We'll see you there
That,
for that. Farewell.
that's that's big.